That movie scared me to death. How many times have you said this after exiting a theater? But next time you say it, keep this in mind. You're lucky to be leaving the theater at all, because for some people, the final credits truly are final. Here's a look at some movies that literally killed their viewers. The Conjuring 2. One film goer in India found The Conjuring 2 just a little too scary. According to a June 17, 2016 report published by the Times of India, an unidentified attendee at a screening in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu began feeling ill during the movie's final act, and the story only gets weirder from there. The afflicted viewer, described as a 65-year-old male, reportedly complained of chest pains during the film and was taken to the hospital, where doctors pronounced him dead on arrival. His body was then reportedly remanded to another hospital for further examination, but it never arrived. As the Times put it, the driver disappeared with a deceased's body, prompting an investigation to determine the whereabouts and the identity of the dead man. Maybe we'll hear more about the story in a Conjuring sequel. Aliens. When it comes to the Alien franchise, Aliens isn't even the scariest entry, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back for one student. According to yet another report from the Times of India, after staying up late to watch a horror movie marathon, the student excused himself to use the restroom. He reportedly emerged screaming and collapsed from shock, dying shortly after. Apparently, his collapse wasn't initially noticed by his fellow filmgoers, but by the time they tried resuscitating him, the movie marathon was over, and it was too late to save him. He was pronounced dead on arrival to a local hospital. The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson's biblical epic was criticized by some viewers for excess gore and violence in depicting the Christian death and resurrection story. Those critics may have had a point, given that 2 people are known to have died during screenings of the film. According to CNN, the first incident occurred in February 2004 during a screening in Wichita, Kansas, where 56-year-old Peggy Scott suffered a fatal heart attack during the movie's intense crucifixion scene. A nurse, who happened to be in the theater, tried reviving Scott, but her efforts were unsuccessful, and Scott was pronounced dead after being taken to a nearby hospital. 1 month later, the same fate was suffered by Jose Geraldo Soares, a 43-year-old Brazilian pastor who'd rented out a theater to watch the movie with his congregation. During the film, Soares' wife noticed he'd lost consciousness. As was the case with Peggy Scott's death, a medical professional happened to be in the theater, but they were unable to save Soares. Although some were quick to blame the film's violence for Soares' passing, a family friend disputed those allegations, saying he was calmly watching the movie next to his wife. The Twilight Saga: Eclipse. Sure, lots of people say they'd rather die than watch Twilight, but how many people have actually done it? One that we know of, and it's a really sad story. 23-year-old Damien Anthony Smythe sneaked into a screening of the Twilight Saga: Eclipse in Wellington, New Zealand during the summer of 2010 and was found unresponsive when the lights came up, with an empty bottle of whiskey on the floor next to him. The coroner's findings were pretty much what you'd expect given the details. Smythe's death was attributed to acute alcohol poisoning. Avatar. James Cameron's 3D CGI epic Avatar marked a groundbreaking achievement in visual effects, but they unfortunately proved to be a little too stimulating for one poor soul in Taiwan, according to CBS News. An unidentified 42-year-old man felt ill and left a showing of Avatar. By the time he reached the emergency room, he was unconscious from a severe stroke. 11 days later, he died. Doctors blame the death on overexcitement from watching the movie and a history of high blood pressure. We're honestly not sure whether that counts as a positive or a negative review. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch more videos like the one you just saw, and leave us a comment to let us know which movies almost scared you to death.